And now it's time to put your hands together and welcome one of the most legendary coaches in American football. He is a NCAC Coach of the Year, NFL Europe Coach of the Year, member of the Allegheny University Hall of Fame. He coached in Notre Dame with legendary coach Luke Holtz. He was also part of the CFL Montreal Alouettes and two-time World Bowl champions with the Berlin Thunder. Please give it up for Coach Peter Vaas. Coach, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you very much. All that introduction did was remind me that I'm old. You got to say a lot of things. That's because I've been around a long time.
Walk us through, what are you doing right now? Because for us, reading your resume, you have a lot of experience in the US, in Canada, and here in Europe. But what are you doing right now so far?
Well, if anybody remembers me from the sidelines of the Berlin Thunder and my days in NFL Europe, they will all immediately recall that I was cool, calm, and collected, which I'm obviously embellishing that a little bit. I was far from that. But one of the things that NFL Europe did for me is it got me very sensitive to officiating, got me involved, or got me to know some people in the NFL office as far as officiating is concerned. And when my coaching days ended after the 2012 season, about 10 or 11 years ago, I ended up reaching out to a multi-Super Bowl referee, a guy by the name of Terry McCauley. And Terry got me involved with replay. And so for the last 10 years, I've been involved in college replay in some fashion. And now I'm about to start my second season as the supervisor for replay in the SEC, the Sun Belt, and the Southern Conferences. So I can't say that it's a full-time job because that it's not, but it's a year-round, a full-year activity that involves training, development, recruiting, and then obviously feedback during the games and being very involved with a staff of 50 replay officials. And so that keeps me very busy. On top of that, I still love to coach quarterbacks, so I have opportunities to privately coach quarterbacks. I privately have coached tight ends and wide receivers. In fact, I just had a young man by the name of Ty Canestraro take off and go to the University of New Haven as a freshman. And so he's going through all the things that you go through there. And then last November, I had a phone call from Thomas Kosling and from Andreas Renner, a couple of names that should be known in Germany. But Andreas was a long-time media person, and he's now involved with the Frankfurt Galaxy. Thomas happens to be the head coach of the Frankfurt Galaxy, and they were looking for a quarterback coach. As much as I love coaching quarterbacks, I happened to summer in the state of New Hampshire on a small cottage at a lake, and I didn't want to give that up. So anyway, I mentioned to Thomas if he was willing to think outside the box, I'd be willing to think outside the box. Long and behold, after a few conversations, I am a consultant with the Frankfurt Galaxy in the European League of Football. I had the pleasure of going over for approximately a week and attending training camp before the season started. I conduct Zoom calls with their offensive staff and their quarterbacks during the course of the week, and I exchange voice texts. And as a matter of fact, last Friday, because it was a bye week, I had a 2-hour conversation with Thomas, and we exchanged some ideas. And I've been very, very, very happy to be considered an asset and to be involved with what they do. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And I've enjoyed every minute of my involvement, and I watch a lot of the games.
You mentioned it, like the experience that you have in the NFL Europe and of course in the ELF. But for you, what's the take of so far for the league?
I think Patrick Azume has a fabulous idea. I really do. I think one of the things from afar that you have to be very cautious of is we all get anxious and we all want to grow too fast. When you're in elementary school, you can't wait to be in high school. When you're in high school, you
Yes.
can't wait to be in college. When you're in college, you can't wait to get to the next level. Well, sometimes it's best to slow down and smell the roses, as they say. And I would caution the ELF that maybe growth and expansion isn't the key thing. Maybe becoming better and better and a little bit smaller would be best in the long run. I know one of the things that the way the rules are set up that makes it very trying for the team you're involved with, the Berlin Thunder. It's a challenge for the Rhine Fire, even though they're on top right now, and for the Frankfurt Galaxy. How do you find national players? The German Football League for years has been a very productive and positive league, full of a lot of German football players. The European League of Football requires that there be an X number of German football players, nationals, if you will, on that team. And the more teams you have in the country of Germany, the more watered down the talent becomes. There are a lot of people that want to play. There aren't that many that are capable of playing at an elite level. And that's what you're looking for, an elite level. So I think if we slow down and catch our breath and either adjust the rules where we can get more players from around the world, or we trim the teams in Germany, I think it would strengthen the league. But yet, again, I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. I think it's an absolutely fabulous idea, and it seems to be going very well. And obviously, the Frankfurt Galaxy is a name that's stood the test of time and has a fan base that's very positive and very enthusiastic.
They were the first champions of the new ELF, and they were the first champions of the World Bowl in the back in the days in the NFL Europe. How do you see the team? Do you think they have anything to be the champions this year?
As long as you get to play the game, you have a chance. And
Okay.
that becomes the most important thing. One of the things that I've always been a proponent of is you don't think long term, you think short term. Right
Yes.
now, the number one thing the Frankfurt Galaxy has to do is ask themselves, can we beat Cologne in Cologne on this, when is it, Saturday morning or Sunday morning?
Saturday morning, yeah.
Saturday morning. And that becomes the number one thing for them. But as you go on, they made a movie of it, and I'll steal that movie, on any given Sunday. So on any given day, and now I'll quote another great movie and another great saying, and that's Miracle on Ice about the 1980 U.S. Hockey Olympics.
Yes, yes.
And if you've ever watched the movie and you listen to Herb Brooks in the locker room before the game, they go, 9 out of 10 times they might beat us, but not today. Not today.
Yeah, that's nice.
They can't skate with it's an absolutely great line, and that's what it comes down to. Maybe not today. I know right now from everybody that's following the European League of Football, the Rhine Fire seem to be insurmountable. But it might come down to a day where it's not today. Maybe 9 out of 10, but not today. And so we're just going to have to wait and see how injuries play out.
Yeah.
The Frankfurt Galaxy have been hit with some injuries, and they've overcome it. If they can just keep getting better and concentrate on the next game and focus on Frankfurt and how are we going to beat Cologne, then they've got a chance, and then they'll just continue to go, and we'll see what happens down the long run. But that applies to anything. Just worry about the next game. And what that has done for Frankfurt, if they had wallowed in their pity because they got their butts kicked by Ryan in game one, they might be 1-7. Instead, they focused on the next game. They've all added up, and that's a very positive thing. But there are a lot of good coaches in that league. Jim Tom Sula, Yogi Jones, John Shoup, Norm Chow. Those are just names that I know are in Europe. I might not have them in the right league, but they're very formidable names and very, very, very good football coaches.
I think Coach Tom Sula has been making a huge work with the Rhine Fire right now, because as you said, right now it seems that it's the team to be defeated to become a champion. But in the other hand, you have the Austrian teams. You have Tirol and you have Vienna, which both teams are playing really good, but Tirol have some internal troubles, but Vienna looks amazing so far. So I think it's going to be a really difficult path for Frankfurt to regain the championship, but it is possible for sure.
And like anybody that ends up in top in the end, it's really difficult. I'm sure I'm not sitting in Jim Tom Sula's seat right now, nor do I walk in his shoes, but I guarantee you he is addressing the issues that he has, and he probably sees a bunch of issues too, and he just keeps striving to get better. And they're doing a great job. They just need to continue to do it, and so does everybody else need to continue to strive to be the Rhine Fire.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, you have experience in the NFL Europe days, and you was two-time World Bowl champion with the Berlin Thunder. For you, what's the main difference between the NFL Europe days and now the ELF?
I think that the thing that I see right now, and this is probably the difference in most anything in this world, is finances. The NFL Europe was supported by the NFL, so money from the NFL was put forth. They were taking care of NFL players, so they were taking care of their own. So not that it was an extravagant budget, but they really did things the right way. They had trainers, they had video people, they had equipment people, they had very comfortable coaching staffs. We traveled comfortably, stayed in good hotels. They housed the players in a comfortable way. One of the things that is a struggle for the European League of Football is all the ownership comes from owners who right now aren't seeing a profit. And like all of us, as the money in our pocket starts to dwindle, we get a little nervous and say, all right, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And we cut corners here and there. And so it needs to grow in a financial stability standpoint. And when that happens, and you can start traveling to where you stay 2 nights at a location, the night before the game and the night after the game, that makes it a lot more comfortable than staying the night before the game, playing a late afternoon or evening game, and then going on a 6-hour bus ride home because you don't want to pay the
extra
hotel
night
fare for another night. So those are the things that what's the expression? Money is the root of all evil, but it also creates an awful lot of happiness and contentment if you have a lot of it. So hopefully the fan base will grow and finances will become less and less of an issue as the league becomes more solid.
You know, the name of the podcast is A Bad Idea of a Podcast, right?
Yes.
So it's the moment that I need to ask you, for you, in your coaching career or in your playing career, in your time in Europe, in Berlin, in Cologne, for you, what was like a bad idea? And then afterwards you say, you know what? Afterward, like, it wasn't that bad idea.
You hit this is like a big fat softball pitch that you're throwing up there. This is a layup. This one's easy for me. You'd mentioned the Canadian Football League. I was in the Canadian Football League in 1996, and at the end of the season, ownership decided that it wasn't a good idea. They didn't want to support the team anymore. So I left the Canadian Football League and I sat out for a fall. And that would have been the fall of 1997. And if you look in the records of NFL Europe, the Barcelona Dragons won the World Bowl in 1997.
Yes.
So at that point in time, Dick Curl was going to become the coach of the Frankfurt Galaxy. And there was going to be an opening on the Barcelona Dragons staff. I happened to be friendly with Jack Bicknell. Jack called me in June and offered me a job with the Barcelona Dragons. I said, no, Jack, I just got back from Montreal, Canada. I can't do it. Going to Barcelona, Spain is not in my best interest. It's a bad idea, Jack. I can't do it. So then, as I mentioned, I went through the fall of 97. So from June, July, August, September, October, November, and I'm looking for a job. And I'm looking for things outside of football. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is Peter going to do with the rest of his life. And meanwhile, I'm staying in touch with Jack. So finally, about the 1st of December in 1997, I said to Jack, I think it's a pretty good idea, Jack. If that job's still open, I'll go to Barcelona, Spain.
In a second thought, yeah.
So when you say, oh my God, it's a bad idea that became a good idea, my experience in Barcelona just led to the opportunity in Berlin and then Cologne. And it's been a big part of my career because very indirectly it's led to me being the supervisor of replay in the SEC. I know that
Nice.
sounds far-fetched, but they're all tied together, and that would be my answer. It took me a while to accept Jack Bicknell's office, and boy, am I thankful that I did.
Nice. We also thank you for making it, because now we, like the fans of the Berlin Thunder, we can say like we are 3 times champions, and 2 of those championships are because of you. You know?
Well, I don't know if they're because of me. There were a lot of great coaches and great players on both of those teams, and a lot of perseverance. You know, one of the things that I'll never forget is that second one. We were 0-3. We started the season off with 3 straight losses and ended up 6-4, and then we had to go play the Rhine Fire in Rhine, and they were knocking the stadium down the next day, and we were fortunate and got some defensive turnovers early in the game, and Todd Husak and Dane Looker had some great games, and we ended up winning it. So it was great experiences, that's for sure.
Yeah, Coach. Finally, because we have some like a couple minutes left, but for you, how can you describe the experience that you like going through here in Berlin? Because Berlin is like a really multicultural, like a really different city outside of Germany. For you, how was the experience?
It was absolutely fabulous. I know that, and I'll admit I've enjoyed every place I've ever been: Barcelona, Berlin, Cologne, Montreal, all the other places that you've mentioned. But when you think of the historical significance of Berlin, Germany, and the things that we were afforded to be able to tour and see and experience, it was just culturally, it was fabulous. The people there were great. I look back at it with tremendously fond memories, tremendous experience. I hope someday my travels bring me back there again.
For sure, and we're gonna welcome you with open arms here in Berlin, Coach. I cannot leave this podcast without asking something, because I play American football in Mexico, and I know a lot of the players who used to play, all the Mexican players who used to play here in the NFL Europe. For you, will be yes or no? Will be a good idea to have more Mexican players in the ALF?
I can't say that I know what the specific names would be. I can say this: I've been to Mexico on more than one occasion. I've been to tryout camps. I know their college system is a very strong one. Yes. I think back to, and I'll only mention 2 names, or maybe I won't, but Carlos Rosado,
yes,
Marco,
for sure.
Marco Martos, Hugo Lira. There are plenty of players that did very
Rolando
well.
Cantu.
Yes. That there are plenty of players that had great careers, and I know are coaching now and are probably producing great players. And to make the European League of Football better, I think if you can get the best players that are out there in the world to play in the league and maybe make it a little bit more flexible as far as the ratios are concerned, I think it would benefit the league. So in a long term, yes, if there are that kind of quality of Mexican players, yes.
That's the answer I was hoping for. That was the answer I was hoping for. I was ready to argue. You like, really? You don't want Mexican players here? But no, you know what? You're fine. You're on the clear, Coach.
No, it doesn't make any difference where they come from. If they're the best players, let's play them.
I mean, because let me tell you, like I always said to the guys here in the ALF, like, you know what, you need to look back to Mexico, because they have offensive linemen, like amazing. They have a huge size, and they have the speed. I mean, not, of course, not like the American ones, but they're pretty good. So they were like, okay.
Without a doubt, as I said, I know the college system in Mexico is a very strong one, very strong.
Nice. Thank you for that answer, Coach. You know what? Like, it aligned in my day. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. So, Coach, again, I want to thank you for having a couple minutes with me, and I hope you enjoyed the questions. I hope you enjoyed the interaction, and wish you the best.
Thank you, and I'd be happy to help anytime I can.
Awesome.
So, good luck with your project. Good luck with the Berlin Thunder. Just go easy on the Frankfurt Galaxy.
I cannot promise anything. But
I understand.
Could be.
I understand.
Thank you so much, Coach. Wish you the best of luck, and of course, wish you the best of luck for the Frankfurt Galaxy as well.
Thank you, Juan. You have a great day.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.